Hi, I'm Sharon Alexander, President of Sun Summit Minerals. We only have 10 minutes, so I'll go through this presentation pretty quick. Here are some forward-looking statements or cautionary notes about forward-looking statements that I may be making, so please do your own due diligence. What I talk about today is does not constitute investment advice. Thank you. So the Buck project is in central British Columbia. It's a bulk tonnage system, gold, copper, and zinc. We're using the Blackwater gold project as an analog. It's very similar grades. They have 8 million ounces at 0.75 gram per ton gold, and this is the kind of grades that we're seeing at Buck. So it's more bulk tonnage, size and scale, I would say half a gram to a gram per ton gold right from surface. So we need that kind of size and scale for a bulk tonnage project to become economic. As well, we have high grade, so we did intercept some high grade as well. In terms of the project itself, it has great infrastructure and access. We can drive right to the drill rig, so we can actually explore 12 months out of the year, which keeps the exploration costs quite low compared to some other jurisdictions. Near-term focus, we did release the last of our assays from our fall 2022 drill program. Very good results. We're very pleased with the expansion potential at Buck Main, but as well we have other explored targets on the property that we'd like to get to in 2023. So we're planning a pretty robust exploration program in 2023, and we're going to have news out shortly which outlines some of these plans. So as mentioned, it's in central British Columbia. We're 33,000 hectares, just south of the town of Houston. So a lot of existing infrastructure, drive right to the drill rig. It's in a very prospective area, so there's a lot of active exploration projects. There's a Teck property just to the west. There's a lot of, there's previously producing mines, such as Equity Silver Mine to the east and Huckleberry Copper Mine to the southwest. So it's a very mining-friendly jurisdiction with a lot of prospective rocks and different metal commodities that have and are being explored. So the exploration upside, right now the Buck Main project is gold, silver, zinc. However, the potential for copper and other base metals on the property is quite high. And as mentioned, we're using the Blackwater gold project as a geologic analog. So that has the 8 million ounces at 0.75 gram per ton gold. So very similar. Blackwater, which is owned by Artemis Gold, they're currently going through a permitting process. And so they're expecting their mine permit in Q1 2023. So this shows that this style of deposit can be permitted in British Columbia and also can be economic. So the Buck Main system, it's still unconstrained. So we're looking at disseminated style of mineralization, half a gram to a gram per ton gold, several hundred meters right from surface. So that's the kind of widths and grades that you need for this style of deposit. As well, we have some high grade. Right now it's unconstrained. Every time we step out, we find more mineralization. So right now we do not have a resource. However, in total we have 84 drill holes for 30,000 meters. We're getting to the stage where we can think about a resource. However, every time we step out, we keep hitting more mineralization. So at some point, it is something that we will consider. However, for the moment, we're going to keep on drilling and keep expanding and seeing how big we can get the mineralized footprint. So the comparison again between Blackwater, there's several similarities. They're the same deposit type. There's also a very interesting correlation between gold and zinc, which we're actually using as an exploration tool. So finding gold and assaying for that, you usually have to wait for the assays to come back for the lab. While zinc, we can actually test in the field. For example, if we're taking surface samples, we can just test for the zinc in the field with an XRF device. So we're getting real-time data for some of our exploration targeting. There's very little outcrop on the Buck project, and so we're using a lot of alternative or different types of exploration styles. So for example, geophysics, geophysical surveys, geochemical sampling. So we can't do traditional prospecting a lot of the time. There's very little outcrop. And so what we've been targeting, or at least focusing on starting in 2022, was what is the upside of our property? We have quite a large property package. We know we have mineralization at Buck Main, but what else could there be? So we've been doing a lot of geophysics and geochemistry. This is showing some of the geophysics here, and we've come up with some very excellent targets, very prospective targets that have never been drill tested. And so we're planning a pretty robust exploration program for 2023, which includes step-out drilling at Buck Main, but then as well drilling some of these additional targets that have never been drill tested. So if we look just to the west of Buck Main, some of the structural fabric is to the northwest, and so we're calling that more of a structural corridor, and we find that's a major control on mineralization. So as you follow that out to the west, we're seeing in some rock samples some pretty great grades, not just of gold, but also silver and zinc and copper as well. So the exploration upside to expand this deposit west of Buck Main itself is quite good. So that's our Silverthorn prospect. As well, we have the URC target, which this map here shows the zinc geochemistry, which, as I mentioned, is a pathfinder for gold. And so if you look at where Buck Main is, it has quite a small kind of red anomaly. And if you look at URC, you can see it's quite a large geochemical anomaly. So that's a great target that we'd love to hit with the drill. Comparatively, it looks very similar to Equity Metals' Silver Queen system, which is just to the south, about 10 kilometers. So we have a lot of great targets there that we're going to prioritize and figure out which one we want to drill first. And then Eagle Eye is looking very much like Buck Main. We have, if you look at the map in the bottom, that's IP chargeability. So what that does is it shows the potential for sulfides. And we have very strong sulfide association with gold. And so we have a few targets here that we'd like to drill as well. And then we have some other targets that have never really been, this is brand new targets just coming out. Morris Mountain looks like it could be very similar to porphyry copper, like Teck has the CR property just to the west of us. Echo has some great geochemical anomalies to the south. And then Dungate South is very similar to Edgemont's Dungate porphyry. So a lot of exploration upside here. It's not just Buck Main. We're looking for, the blue sky potential and really some return on investment for some of the shareholders. So in terms of share structure, we're sitting at 77 million shares outstanding. We have about 11% insider ownership. We're currently at about a $10 million market cap. We've been much higher. I think a lot of companies can say the same thing. We're very undervalued, I think, right now for the system that we have. And we have Eric Coffin from Metals Investor Forum as our newsletter writer. So value proposition, great infrastructure and access. You really do need that for this kind of system to work and to be economic. Year-round access, mining-friendly jurisdiction. And in terms of near-term catalysts, ongoing expansion potential at Buck Main, as well as that added-on prospectivity across the property, these targets which have never been drill tested, which show considerable exploration upside in that way. We're going to be starting an aggressive 2023 exploration program, which is going to include drilling both at Buck Main and elsewhere on some of these projects. We're doing ongoing metallurgical testing to see how these metals are recoverable. So we're going to have pretty steady news flow for the ongoing exploration and project advancement. Thanks very much for listening.